My name is Yuma. I'm 22 years old, born and raised in Harlem, New York City. I'm a professional fashion model, an entrepreneur, and most importantly, an African American woman. I'm at an African hair braiding salon, and I'm here to talk to you about the natural hair struggle. Natural hair is curly and coily hair that is untreated by chemicals or heat and can be styled with or without extensions. The term natural hair has specific and significant cultural meaning with Black communities. It is used in reference to hair textures most commonly associated with Black people. Growing up in an African braiding salon was busy. I remember my mom used to work in one when I was younger. I remember after school coming and watching her do clients' hair, and she would do different hairstyles like braids with extensions, of course. She would do relaxers. They would come in to get perms. Definitely, there was no natural hair inclusion in the braiding salon because, unfortunately, that is not what clients were coming in for. The customers at the African braiding salon were all African American women, and they would get styles like braids with extensions, they would get weaves. They never got natural hairstyles, so just being young and surrounded by that, the very first thing that I wanted to do when I got older was to get a weave, get my hair straightened, or get a hairstyle with extensions. But little did I know, these hairstyles actually are unhealthy for natural hair, and are part of the reason why I ruined my natural hair trying to conform to society's perception of what Black beauty should look like. Unfortunately, as a professional fashion model, the first form of discrimination I experienced on set was because of my hair. I did a photo shoot for Gucci in 2018 of July. This was for Dazed magazine, and I remember getting on set and the hairstylist just looking at my hair and he's like, "What do you do with this?" The famous pat down. And I'm just like, it's funny, but it's really not funny because it's like, this is a photo shoot for Gucci in collaboration with Dapper Dan, an iconic Black fashion designer from Harlem. How is it that you put on a whole shoot for Dapper Dan and you have Black talent, Black models, yet you have no one to do their hair? It's very frustrating, and unfortunately, this is a problem that each and every single model of color has to deal with every single day on set. Hairstylists who discriminate against them, hairstylists who don't even want to go near them. They're last to get styled most of the time because none of the hairstylists have the skills to do their hair. I actually spoke to Dapper Dan about the issue. Unfortunately, we can't get his feedback on this problem. What I will say, though, is that there needs to be support from Black men in the industry because your women are going through this issue. Black women have been going through this issue for decades, for centuries, forever. We need your help, so please speak up for us. Now, before we attack Crystal, Black Twitter, she was not the hairstylist who did my hair for the Gucci photo shoot, but she is a licensed professional hairstylist operating a service business. Now, let's listen, because what she's about to share is some shocking information.
Hi, my name is Crystal Tushinsky, and I am a hairstylist in Manhattan, New York.
Amazing. How long have you been doing hair for?
I've been doing hair professionally for 13 years, but I have over 15 years experience in cosmetology.
And so are you represented by an agency or do you do independent?
I'm an independent hairstylist.
Amazing. How was your experience in beauty school?
My experience in beauty school was challenging. It was a lot of work. I just didn't understand that you weren't going to work on people, you were going to work on mannequin heads, and it was exciting though, but at the same time, it was just a lot of work.
And what beauty school did you go to?
Paul Mitchell in Staten Island, New York.
Have you ever learned how to do natural hair in beauty school?
No, I did not. I did not learn. We didn't have natural hair mannequin heads. We only had straight hair mannequin heads. And we had a very short lesson on braiding. That's all I can remember. And I think it was cornrows.
Okay. How long is beauty school?
The program that I was in was day school for 8 months.
Okay. So it would be like 9 to 5 kind of?
It was 9 to 5, I believe.
Okay. And so how was it when you finished beauty school and then you had a natural hair client?
Okay, so after I finished beauty school, I actually ended up going to an organic salon in Soho, Manhattan. And to be honest, there wasn't any natural haired women coming into that salon. So moving forward throughout the years, I've only encountered probably less than a dozen natural haired women. I do, in my clientele now that I've built for over 10 years, I only have 2 natural hair women, and I've learned more about natural hair through them than anyone else. And if I do have to do an event with braids or anything like that, I do go on YouTube and I do my research on the internet. There isn't many options for education in natural hair in Manhattan, I believe. I haven't seeked it out, I guess, as often as I would other things, just because I'm in an environment where there isn't a lot of natural haired women walking through my chair, or sitting in my chair, I should say.
In beauty school, when you did learn braids, how was that lesson taught?
In beauty school, braids were taught on a doll head, on a mannequin head, with not natural hair. And it was just a short lesson for a few days just to check off some boxes for the state board.
Okay. Do you have any of the material with you?
I do. So this is the Milady Standard Cosmetology book. This was made in 2008. And when I went through it, there's only one chapter towards natural hair.
Out of the whole book?
Out of the whole book. And it is for soft pressing for normal curly hair.
What? This is insane.
So, in beauty school, unfortunately, you don't learn proper terminology as well. So throughout my career, I've unfortunately offended people without knowing it. Unfortunately, I used the word nappy, thinking that was not an offensive word. I am so sorry. Right. I'm so sorry. I didn't know that was offensive. The terminology, I don't have it in my vocabulary. And, it's horrible.
So because with curly hair, there are a lot of different forms of curls.
Yes,
oils.
Of course.
Do they teach you any of these, the various types, the specific names, 3A, 3B,
Nope.
4A, 4C?
Not that to my knowledge. And unfortunately, I want to say in beauty school that it was probably such a short course that we didn't even practice enough on it. Like there's just here on the chapter is 5 pages.
I'm looking at the mannequin of color, and this is definitely not how black hair looks like naturally.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. And also in the braiding part, where they're teaching braids, it is on a non-natural hair mannequin. Here it is. So they're teaching you how to braid with extensions on
a blonde
mannequin. And obviously hair texture is completely different. So therefore you're going to not do natural hair correctly.
Right.
Because you're learning on fine hair. There is a difference.
Yes.
And I've learned throughout my career, there's a certain way of combing and conditioning, and if the texture is fine or thicker or coarse, the look isn't going to be the same.
Right.
So all of that knowledge and education was just through my career and not in beauty school. And even with the cornrow, basic cornrows, it's also on a non-natural mannequin.
In New York City, hairstylists are licensed by the state of New York and the New York State Education Department. The New York State Department of Education is in charge of creating the lessons taught in beauty school. Hairstylists are required to complete 1,000 hours of cosmetology school training, about 9 months, and spend roughly $20,000 just to obtain a license that is not inclusive of natural hair. Shocking, right? Not only is this anti-Black discrimination, but hairstylists who lack natural hair training are missing out on good business. Let's hear what the beauty schools have to say about this.
My name is Rachel Baptiste, and I work at a beauty school in Manhattan. Every state has a set amount of hours that you need to obtain to become licensed.
Right.
New York has the least amount, so we only need 1,000 hours to be licensed. I think somewhere in Arizona it might be like 2,000 hours or whatever, but it's only 1,000 hours, you know, and it is a literal situation. So there's only so much you can learn in that amount of time, you know, and there's only so much they can put in that amount of time, you know. So they touch on it, but is it enough for someone to be sufficient and do, you know, someone on sets natural hair? Maybe not.
Right,
you know?
right. I feel like what I'm understanding from what you're saying is, you know, where you are and, you know, the institution that you represent has diversity and you guys make sure that the curriculum is inclusive. However, this is not something that is actually even mandated and mandatory and something that is not, you know, not every school does that. Why?
So
why don't they?
The state is what determines what's going to be a part of the curriculum. Think of like any school, like a elementary school or public school. The state determines what's in that curriculum. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, I mean, even that's a thing.
Right.
Like, you know, a lot of parents want to know, like, why aren't we learning? Why are our kids not learning certain things,
certain
in
topics,
school, right? Well, that is really a question for politicians, the state, all of that, because I mean, I don't know how much pull we have, but if we, the people, don't say, hey, I don't like this, I actually want this to change and vote and do all those things, then, you know, basically we're just accepting what's given to us. And I think this is nothing different, you know, the state. And also, I think at one point in time, maybe I touched on this, but education is very slow to change. You know, the time it takes to create a curriculum and to create a textbook and to roll those textbooks out. Like, it's 2020, you know, you could find out about what's going on the other side of the world in 2 seconds on your phone.
Since New York State determines the curriculum that cosmetology schools teach, it makes sense why the majority of hairstylists can't do natural hair. I mean, if you didn't grow up Black or around Black people, then naturally you would have no idea what to do with natural hair. The New York City human rights law protects the rights of all New Yorkers to maintain natural hair and natural hairstyles, which are closely associated with their racial, ethnic, and cultural identities. However, this law does not push for natural hair education or inclusivity in cosmetology school and amongst hairstylists. Modern-day cosmetology school graduates are being sent out to start their career behind the chair, unprepared to work with clients who want to enhance and define their natural curl and coil textures. Since the New York State government has taken no action yet to address this issue, we created a petition requesting fashion brands become texture positive and end natural hair discrimination by solely hiring hairstylists who have natural hair training. The time for change is now. Black models are forced to style their own hair on set and rock bad hair jobs, which not only affects their self-esteem, but diminishes their model performance. Black natural hair models are not even compensated for having to do their own hair on set. Now, let's talk to a few of our queens who were courageous enough to share their true stories.
Veronica Collins. I am from Brooklyn, New York, born and raised. I've been modeling since I was a child, but more recently since I was like 16 until now. It's been a love-hate relationship. I've always worn natural hair as a child, but then going into my like preteens, I always wore like weaves or braids and protective styles. I was more accustomed to not loving it as much as I do now, and like kind of needing, extra hair extensions as like a handicap for making myself feel better, like look better, and not dealing with all my kinks and coils.
It was a journey. My mother really couldn't deal with it often. Not only that, I have my sisters as well, so we all had different textures. Mine was permed. I actually started getting perms around 5, maybe 6. And from then on, all I know is how to deal with permed hair.
When I was very little, like between ages like 3 to 6, my mom had the time to help me take care of my hair. So I remember getting a lot of compliments when I was younger from people saying how beautiful it was. But then that changed when my mom joined the military and she had less time to teach me and like just be there to do my hair. So I remember being very frustrated, comparing myself to the like lighter white people around me that I was in school with, because I could tell their hair was a lot easier to take care of than mine, and I didn't really know much about how to take care of it. So my relationship with my hair started to go down as I got into like my teenager, like adolescent years.
As a child, and grown into adult, I always had a really good relationship with my hair. It was all about, in my household, all about celebrating everything that made up my Blackness and everything that made up me. So my hair wasn't taboo. My mom always did my hair. She always, because my mom grew up as a kitchen hairstylist. So every hairstyle that I wanted, my mom knew how to do, whether it was braids, press, ponytails, cornrows, everything. And it wasn't until I feel like maybe I got a little older. When I got my first perm was when I started thinking about changing textures or altering the state of my hair.
I was at the Dominican salon getting my hair pressed and straightened every 2 weeks. So I endured heat damage because I did not like my natural hair. I didn't like how thick my hair was. I didn't like how big my hair was. And this was all high school, and since I was a young girl, I began my natural hair journey and loving my natural hair as soon as I began college. So before then, it was just very much, I don't like how thick my hair was. I didn't know how to handle it. I'm seeing every single day straight hair, just, you're not seeing big hair, a lot at that age where I was.
My relationship with my natural hair as a young girl was always, like, I would say like a rocky relationship, just because I had natural hair up until I was like 10. And then when I went to Senegal for summer vacation, one summer, my aunt, who's a hair braider, decided that it's easier for her to maintain if she like relaxed it.
My relationship with my hair has been challenging. I think as my career progressed, I felt that I always loved my natural hair, but I always felt like it wasn't enough for my clientele. So I just kind of dealt with it over the years.
My relationship with my natural hair as a young girl was kind of wonky. I had a lot of hair growing up, and I was always asked, oh, is that your real hair? Because it was, I guess, unorthodox to see Black women or Black girls, especially of my complexion, with a lot of hair. And so when I first started modeling, I would straighten my hair every time I needed to do a photo shoot, because I thought that would be deemed as beautiful, and I thought, at least I felt prettier when my hair was straightened. But over time, my hair became damaged of constantly putting heat on it, and so I began to wear my natural hair out more often, and I became more comfortable with my natural hair growing up.
Of course, I went to a salon first, And then my mother would go to get our boxed perms, boxed relaxers from the beauty supply store. I didn't want to perm my hair. It's just what was easier for my mother to work with, especially with short periods of time, not having a lot of time to be doing all of our hair. So it just made it more manageable for her.
It's been like a roller coaster basically, because then after high school, or once I got into high school, like I discovered YouTube, and there's a lot of videos on there about natural hair and like different hair textures in natural hair. So I learned a lot more, and now my relationship is more positive because I'm more educated, and definitely like product ranges have increased.
After modeling for about 4 years, my hair was completely damaged. My curls were dropped. They would be curly at the top and then straight at the bottom. And I was thinning. It was just a disaster. So a big chop is when you just chop off all the dead ends and only keep the healthy part of your curls, which can be up to 1 inch to 4 inches, depending on how much damage you have.
Of course, like, you know, trying to do my own thing, being like a young, like preteen teenager, I wanted to do styles myself. And of course, I broke all my hair out. It was at one point, my hair got to probably about this short. It was so short, straightened. And I would start getting sew-ins, and I started doing my own sew-in weaves. And this one time I was just perming my edges, just perming my leave out, just so I could be blended. And I went to do like the top of my hair and left the perm in. I didn't leave it in too long, but when I went to rinse it out, I rinsed my hair out. So there was no leave out to cover the tracks. So at that point, like I knew, I was like, yo, I cannot keep doing this to my hair. That was my last perm.
When I was younger, I had just straight up natural hair, and then my sisters began getting perms, and I wanted to be like my big sister, so I got a perm twice in my life, and we just weren't able to keep it up and maintain it. So then I transitioned back to my natural hair, and I went through periods of getting it straightened for modeling and having it natural, and I did a lot of braids and like cool hairstyles like that. I was getting my hair straightened specifically for photo shoots, but there would be times when obviously if I'm natural, my hair is not permed, and I straighten it, sometimes the effects of the weather or just heat, sweating can disrupt the straightness of my hair. So there would be times where I would get my hair straightened, we would pay to have it professionally done, and then by the time I got to set, like my roots were puffy and it was just looking a mess, and then the people that were on set weren't able to revive my hair, so then I just end up looking crazy at that time. So that was a little bit difficult, not having people to, I guess, correct issues that may arise on set.
During runway shows is when I experience issues with my natural hair the most. You only have a short period of time to do hair, and a lot of the time you can tell the hairstyling teams didn't account for natural hair, even though they know they're going to be having models of color on set. Because of the short period of time, they would want to go through the other model's hair first before tackling the natural hair. And a lot of the time, you were left seated on the side, your hair not done, your makeup not done, and it's 15 minutes to the show. And you realize that it's like, oh, they just have no intentions of actually attempting anything. So that has happened often. A lot of the time, you're just sent out on the runway with nothing but yourself or what you've done, because a lot of the time, models would actually do their own. Seeing the time constraints, they're like, well, they're not going to try, so I'm going to do it myself because I don't want to look stupid on the runway.
A lot of the times, you have to kind of come prepared when you're coming to set with your natural hair. I have to be mindful of how I'm going to come onto set with my hair, because 9 times out of 10, the hairstylists don't really know how to deal with my hair. So at a gesture for my own, just to be kind of let the whole process be smoother, I kind of just like come prepared. Like I don't come with my hair as a wash and go, because I know it's a little bit more difficult for someone who's unfamiliar to work with my hair to deal with that. So I try to do hairstyles that are a little bit more easier, like a twist out, because your hair is softer in twist out. So maybe that's just little things like that I have to be mindful of, because 9 times out of 10, the hairstylists on set don't really know how to deal with natural hair.
I always am nervous if my hair is actually going to turn out good that day. And also, depending on what type of different hairstyle they want, if they're like, okay, come up with your fro, and then sometimes I show up with my hair like this, and then they want to try to do like some asymmetrical something or straighten it, and it's just kind of like, I'd rather do it myself. So you just never know what you're gonna get until you show up. But no, because most people just already like you showing up like this, you know?
When I was still straightening my hair, I went to the Dominicans, and I would get my hair blown out, flat iron to the T before a shoot. And I promise you, there was no questions about anything the next day about that shoot, because my hair was already done.
I cut my hair back in 2018 because my hair had become so damaged and it felt like it was not able to be revived, and I also just wanted a change. I felt like this look would be received better in the modeling industry because I've been told that it looks more exotic, actually.
I'm not one of those models who have like shortcut hair, because I feel like as a dark skinned model, like that's the default. Like if you want to get into the industry, like you have to be like, you know, you have to like shave your head or have super short hair. And that's not the case for me. Like my hair is like a medium length. And so like when I get to set, like I feel like it's not as like, it's like, okay, like what do I do with this now, you know?
I always experience anxiety before a shoot, casting, or runway show. Once again, you just don't know who's going to be on set, who knows how to deal with you in particular. And it's just, a lot of the time, you prep yourself before going to these things to kind of alleviate that anxiety. So that way you know, this is the best I was able to come up with while still trying to appear as natural as can be for them to be able to either accentuate things I've already done, or just in case one of those instances where they just send you out, at least you know you look decent.
There's always that conversation after makeup or hair and makeup was done that, you know, you have to get hair approval from the creative director. And every time I was finished, there's always that side conversation that they have to have where they're whispering and they have to readjust because the creative director does not like how my hair looked for the day. So we had to often like do over or readjust before we can get started our looks.
I remember this one time during Fashion Week, they had, I think, 3 or 4 different possible hairstyles for the models for New York Fashion Week, and they wanted to put all of them on me. So one style, some of the girls had like 3 cornrows on the side with beads. Some girls had their hair in a high pony. Some had a headband, and some had, I forgot what the other one was. And so my hairstyle was supposed to have 3 braids on the side with the cornrows going down with a big high bun and the baby hair, like the edges like slicked all cute or whatever. So when they asked, and I also was the hair test, so they wanted to do everything on me. So when they asked someone who knows how to do cornrows, this little white hairstylist raised her hand and said, "Hey, I know how to cornrow." So I sit in the chair, and in the back of my head, I know that this is disastrous. And this is, if the anxiety that we're talking about, this is when that set in, because I just have a feeling she's not really gonna get this. So she goes and she gets this product that, of course, it's New York Fashion Week, so there's a sponsor, a hair product sponsor. I look at the hair product and I know that is not gonna work for my edges. I try to tell her that, but no, don't listen to the one who's been walking around with the hair for God knows how long, you know, for like all my life. So so they use this product in my hair that is not gonna work, and she goes and she starts parting and starts trying to use braid hair, feed-in hair, to cornrow my edges on the side. It was supposed to just be three little cornrows going down and coming down like this and a bunch of beads. That was it. She spent all of my hair and makeup time on those 3 braids. And I was the first one to sit in the chair. So this isn't my first New York Fashion Week, but this is a bigger show for me. And I was really excited. So I ended up, this is what happened. She did the 3 braids, and then the designer comes over and she looks at my hair and she was like, "What is this?" She was like, "This isn't what I asked for. Take all of these down." And after she then gooped all this stuff into my hair, she starts trying to take the braids down with a rat tail comb. And she's like doing this, trying to like undo the braid. And I'm like, "You have to do it with your hands because it's faster." And her response is, "Yeah, but it has all that stuff in it and I don't want to get my hands dirty." I literally moved her hands out the way and did it myself. Took the braids down completely myself. They put my hair up in a ponytail and threw a headband on me. So all of that work, and I had to go and rehearse. I had to go and rehearse the walkthrough, do the walkthrough without makeup on at all, with a headband on my head when I was supposed to have like this beautiful elaborate hairstyle. Like I was excited I haven't had beads or braids in so long because of work. And I was really excited to be able to have that experience alongside the other models. But because I got a very incompetent hairstylist who didn't want to ask questions, didn't want to take advice, had a chip on her shoulder and a big ego for no reason, I was forced to walk out, spend my entire time of hair and makeup. Mind you, hair and makeup, we probably get like 30, 40, 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Spent that entire time doing 3 braids.
I have a very tight and very kinky texture, and it's very difficult to work with. So I just said, just throw some relaxer on it. But the more I did that, the more my hair would be damaged, and the more I would just be comfortable like that. And it was fine. But I realized I didn't need all of that to feel or look beautiful. I don't know, like even just like hearing from my mom, like, "Oh, she has like kunta kinte hair," like every time I go to the hair salon, like that would just be very discouraging to me, because I'm like, damn, like, ooh, I have to hide my hair. Like, oh, I can't like leave the house without like a weave or a wig, or, oh, like my hair is just like horrible to work with. Like it's just not pretty, like, oh. So just hearing that over and over again just, like created this like barrier between me and my actual hair. So then once, agents started to be like, "Okay, like I want to see your natural hair, like I want to see you in your natural form," I was very, very nervous about showing myself like that and showing myself to the world like that, especially because I didn't feel beautiful until I realized, like, "You see this? Like, what?" It's like, I love it. Like my little mushroom top. Like, I don't understand why I spent so many years like hiding it when I could have just been my true natural self.
It's important, if your job is to be a hairstylist, you should know how to make people feel and look good.
I think once I decided that I didn't need to have straight hair to be pretty, my relationship with my natural hair became more positive.
When I was in high school, that was like the rise of the natural hair movement. So that motivated me to like wear my natural hair. I was doing a lot of research on what type of hair I have, like how much water it absorbs and all of that stuff. And also just seeing people with my hair texture in the media like affirmed me and made me want to like wear my natural hair out more often.
It wasn't until my friend in high school encouraged me to embrace my natural hair. She would always tell me, like, "Your hair will be so beautiful if you just let it grow, like just let it be, like stop the heat. You're gonna have beautiful curls when you stop the heat damage." And so I listened to her, and when I started college, I just left my straightener and my blow dryers at home, and that's how I began my natural hair journey. I just cut off all my heat damage and I just trusted her.
My advice for women experiencing these problems on set is to continue to stand in your identity of what you represent. If you love your hair the way it is and you don't want anyone to put any heat in it, or if you don't agree with whatever is on the vision board for the day, stand in your truth. It's your hair. what you allow people to do to your hair, you ultimately serve that consequence regardless.
I need to straighten my hair. So it got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to just do it big. I want to explore different hairstyles. I wanted to show the versatility in the different ways we can style our hair. But no, I'm not compensated or anything by it. But again, the message that I'm sending Soleil and the message that's being sent to other girls who are watching her videos is what's more important. Absolutely hire someone who's knowledgeable on how to do their hair so it doesn't fall on the model. But in the event that they don't have someone that's knowledgeable, then absolutely the model should be compensated for her time and her products and everything. Just like Soleil and I would always laugh, I have this big old backpack with everything, all the edge controls, the oils, the butters, the curling iron in case they need to spiral it, everything. I have to come to set with all of that and makeup or foundation color just in case they don't have it. So I feel like that's a little unfortunate because the white models don't have to worry about that when they walk in. They don't have that anxiety of, oh my gosh, is my makeup gonna match today? Are they gonna mess up my hair? They don't have that issue.
Talk to us. Listen. We communicate beforehand. We tell you what our issues are, what we encounter, how we do things. You know, if you listen, a lot of the time you both come out with, happy results. So that would definitely be my message to the industry. And also, hire more diversity, more people of color.
There was a time I had to redo my hair after it was quote unquote done, because the lady for the stylist that she was trying to do kind of like a half up, half down hairdo. My hair is very big and kinky, so she didn't use the correct tactic for the pin, so I had to go in the bathroom myself, and I had to end up, laying down my own edges. I had to end up redoing the whole style to go to what it was, because she seemed like she was too timid and too scared to touch my hair. Depending on what the set is, I do have to end up bringing my own products to set. If I know I'm gonna have like a natural hair look, I want to make sure I have my fro pick, detangling, moisture, and oils, just in case they want to change anything around, and my own water spray bottle. But any other time, if they tell me to just come freely as I am, I don't bring anything.
Black models should definitely be compensated more for having to do their own hair because they're doing that job. They're doing the job of the hairstylist. So you should be compensated if you're doing your own hair.
I don't want to, in any way, in any form, ever suppress my Blackness again. And I'm so passionate about it because I've done this. I've played the part of the non-threatening Black girl next door in order to be booked, in order to really have a place in this industry. And Chile. I've been blessed to be able to work consistently, but I don't want my consistent work to be at a detriment to my Blackness. That doesn't equate success to me.
Natural hair discrimination in the workplace is illegal in New York State thanks to organizations like the Crown Act, who fight to ensure protection against discrimination based on race-based hairstyles like braids, locks, twists, knots, and more. In 2019, the New York City Commission on Human Rights passed a legal enforcement guidance on race discrimination on the basis of hair. This guidance prohibits natural hair discrimination in professional settings and workplaces. However, the rights of natural hair women who pursue modeling as a profession still remain exploited. Hell, the right of a Black woman to wear her natural hair in any profession remains abused till this day. So I remember getting hired for the Rainbow Room, which is a bar restaurant in Rockefeller Center. And I remember in the handbook them saying that braids were prohibited. So I remember asking my hiring manager, it says that if I wear braids, I can potentially get fired. And she was black, and she said, well, yeah, I would just avoid it. And I'm like, well, in the summer, how am I supposed to do my hair? It's hot. I don't wear weaves. I'm a natural. I can't straighten it because it's hot outside. It's going to be humid. And this is the problem. Natural hair discrimination also exists in the workplace. It actually especially exists in the workplace and in educational institutions as well. There are schools that are even expelling and suspending young black girls for wearing their hair like this, for wearing their hair naturally. In New York City and in California, there have been some laws passed that have made it illegal to suspend a student or even fire someone for wearing their natural hair. The New York City Commission on Human Rights has passed a law banning natural hair discrimination. However, nationwide, this is not a law. There are still some states where you wear your natural hair to work, you get fired. You wear your natural hair to an interview, you're not getting that job. You wear your natural hair to school, you're getting sent home. And this needs to change. This is still an issue today in 2020. Unfortunately, African braiding salons are closing down because the shop owners are receiving fines from the state for hiring hairstylists who do not have cosmetology licenses. These hairstylists do not have cosmetology licenses, number one, because of language barrier, and number two, because in cosmetology school, natural hair is not taught. Black hair is not taught. So why would they invest in beauty school to obtain a license? And in beauty school, they're not even going to be taught how to do black hair or natural hair. It doesn't make any sense. Tennessee is one of the states that has charged an African hair braiding shop $16,000 in fines for employing hair braiders who do not have government licenses. What's the real problem? Beauty schools do not teach black hair.
I love to learn. Education is so important. And, you think you finished learning 15 years into your career, and here we are. I'm about to learn something new to add on and to share it. And I'm super excited to learn, basically.
Amazing.
Great.
So let's practice hair blooming first.
Okay. I have no idea what that is, so
we're gonna
wonderful.
Amazing.
I don't know what that term is.
Deep conditioning. So we have our beautiful hair model. We have Nyla here.
Hi.
Hey, girl. Nyla has curly hair. In the back, she has dreadlocks.
Okay.
Locks, because dreads are not
we don't do that.
a word anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we no longer refer to dreadlocks as dreadlocks
Okay.
at all.
I would have never known that.
So it's locks. Sometimes I myself forget. Until I say it, then I'm like, sorry, locks,
Okay.
Just because the word dread is actually associated with slaves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so during slavery, the slaves, their hair would get matted. And so the slave owners would refer to their matted hair as dreadlocks, as in dreadful locks.
I would have never, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. No, natural hair is a whole history lesson behind it. So we're going to go ahead and clip the 4 locks.
Okay.
There's a clip right there.
Great.
One.
Oops, sorry.
Are you locking the rest of your hair?
No, not right now.
Okay.
If I really love these, then maybe I'll do the rest.
I like that though. She's like,
what is the idea of why do you have these 4 locks?
I just wanted to explore locks.
Locks, yeah.
Because I've always been in love with them, and I love the aesthetic. I actually had faux locks before, so I wanted to try it, and it's also like a spiritual thing for me too.
Okay.
So I wanted to put them in the back.
Okay. So so this is basically a test to see if the hair, it's just a personal preference at this point.
Right,
okay.
exactly.
It has nothing to do with the hair.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you have any relaxers in your hair? Are you going through a transition? Is this all natural?
This is all natural. The only chemicals I put in my hair were dyes, and that was a long time ago. It's probably all grown out by now, but that definitely changed the texture of my hair a little bit.
Okay.
But it's all natural.
Okay, great. Let's take it down.
Okay.
Lovely.
Yeah.
All right.
So now that her hair is down, what we're gonna do is take the clips and put everything up except for the locks in the back.
Okay, great.
Using the clips over there.
Okay.
Rubber bands, I personally don't like using rubber bands for my natural hair because it like gets stuck to my curls.
Okay.
So it just like never works out for me. Now she mentioned that she likes using oils.
Yep.
So we're gonna be using Hair Bloom Deep Conditioning Oil. So you're just gonna take one lock at a time and apply the oil to it.
Okay. Each oil or?
It's the same one.
Okay.
It's the same oil.
Okay.
So now.
So do I just?
Or you can apply it to your hand and rub it with whatever method works for you.
Okay.
And massage it and really take your time. And the importance of deep conditioning natural hair is so the hair is stronger, thicker, grows fuller, and also grows longer. Deep conditioning is an essential to your natural hair journey because natural hair is naturally very dry.
Okay.
So deep conditioning is like mega moisture all at once that will leave your hair moisturized for the whole week.
Okay.
And also Hair Bloom can be used as a moisturizer. And the trick with deep conditioning and with using Hair Bloom oil is when her entire hair is soaked with the oil, you want to leave it under a processing cap for at least 30 minutes. Just so her hair absorbs the oil, then we wash it out. That's what we're gonna do for the rest of her hair.
Okay, great.
But each section that we hair bloom, we're gonna twist and leave it in the twist.
Okay.
And clip it, just get it out of the way. So we're gonna just take the clips down. We're gonna use the wide tooth comb right there. Make a nice part straight down on her hair, which seems parted already.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so it's parted.
Perfect. Okay, so the right side.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Your hair is so pretty. The right side of her hair, we're gonna clip as one, just to start looking on the left. What's your natural hair routine like?
Basically, it's become very simple. I've been trying to simplify it this past year. So, what I do is I just use twists or braids in a protective style, and I'll keep that for I'll keep it in for like a month, and I'll wash them in the twist or the braids every week.
Okay.
To clarify the scalp. But it really helps with my hair growth. Like,
less is more.
Wow. Yeah. I see a lot of like women who are natural doing that. The less is more, which I think like once you have a great oil, a good co-wash, and a good conditioner, like you're ready to go.
You don't need
That's
any
all
more
you
products.
need. Yeah, no, not at all. Okay, so we're gonna take her hair and we're gonna do parts. So it's gonna be like one part here, 2 part here, and then a 3rd part. So we're gonna divide it in 3 parts with your hands and just section each part with the clip so you don't lose the part.
Just gonna move this over here.
And the great thing about like deep conditioning is you don't have to detangle before you do it, because by the time she's done with the processing cap, her hair is gonna be soft and like moisturized already. So
okay, so now I have the part.
That's one in the front, right?
Yep.
Okay. So
clip. Okay, got it.
So we're hair blooming her hair in sections,
So what terminology is correct when it's hair blooming? Just in general, coils, locks. Is there anything else that is used that I think I'm unaware of?
Well, I know that in terms of women with coily hair, a lot of women do not like the term kinky.
Okay.
Nappy is a no-no.
Yep.
Asking to touch is a no for natural girls, period.
Oh,
no
wow.
matter what
People
texture.
People that?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it is a thing.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really, really, really.
People are like, is it okay if I touch your hair?
If I touch right. Or asking, is it real Just assume it is and keep it pushing. Don't ask.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's the first section of her hair. This is, I like to call it a mister.
Okay.
But it's just a spritz bottle. It's great for curly hair because it sprays wide.
Okay.
So we're just gonna wet her hair a little bit.
Okay, from the top to the bottom?
Mm-hmm. Just so it absorbs the oil a little easier.
So spraying, misting the hair first helps absorb the oil.
Yes.
Okay.
It helps to absorb the oil. And then we're gonna apply the oil from root to tip.
Root to tip.
Mm-hmm. You can do it on your
Now, because it's a bigger section, is there a specific way of, or just like saturate it?
Saturate it.
Okay.
Yep. I think that's the one thing too about natural hair care is that honestly, natural girls, we don't really read like measurements. It's just whatever feels.
It feels because there is no particular
right
because it takes a lot to moisturize natural hair.
Right. And everyone's hair is different, you know.
Right.
There's low porosity hair, there's high porosity hair. So you just have to feel it out and see how it is.
Now, is there a specific, does the texture change when it is fully saturated? Is there something that I should be looking for and something I could tell, like how do I tell if it is really working?
You will tell if it's working when
like right now, to me, it looks like this looks great.
Yes, and it is great.
That looks so beautiful.
Every single strand of your hair is moisturized.
Okay, yeah.
So you would just put it in a twist.
Yep, okay, so now I twist it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So twist it counterclockwise towards her?
Yep.
Okay. And clip it?
Yep.
Okay, great. And it's okay to clip it in a bun?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and the ends sometimes too, like her ends are a little bit dry because that's the oldest part of her hair.
Right.
So you want to definitely go in the ends and like
really add more.
Get in there, right?
So should it be super tight or it doesn't matter?
No.
This is just tight. Because not tight.
No.
Okay.
This is just so it will hold and sit under the processing cap.
Okay, great.
For like 30 minutes.
Perfect. So just.
If you want, you can clip it too. Yes, the ends. She's like, yeah, she got the ends. Nice. Yes. Yay. So you would just repeat that.
Okay, great.
For the
Oh wow, yeah, I
section.
feel the difference.
Yeah. So how does it feel like when you did the hair bloom to that first section versus like this section where it's no product?
It's already super soft.
Yeah.
It just feels silky. Super silky, completely different. So since the movement has happened, it's made me think a lot of my career, and it's amazing that you reached out to me and found me. I was like, wow, it's kind of like meant to be because I was just having this experience, like telling my family. So when I was starting out in my career, I was an assistant, and you would, go on these interviews, and there would be like 4 other assistants there interviewing for the same exact job, and you could tell that, we went to the same beauty school and we have the same exact knowledge and education, but I just feel that I got the job because of my skin color, not because of my education, because the girl sitting next to me had the same exact education.
Right.
And I think in these big salons in Manhattan, they are afraid to hire the black girl because she may not know how to do white hair, so they would have to put more education into her versus me. Unfortunately, I've experienced managers telling the hiring managers not to hire the black girl.
But why though?
Racism, and it happens in the hair world. It definitely is a thing. It is definitely a thing. It's real. Hair is universal.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you come from. You could teach hair no matter what texture it is, no matter what ethnicity you are.
Right.
Hair and math are universal. It's a universal, seriously. It's just like lack of education in the beginning stages of your career. And people don't take their time to learn different techniques, basically.
Right. Do you think it's because they don't want to, or do you think it's because there are no opportunities to?
It's the opportunity. I'm sure some people maybe don't care. They're like, well, I'm never gonna do that kind of hair anyway, so what's the point?
Right.
And then all of a sudden they have someone with that kind of hair, and they're like, oh wow. But then, the opportunity, you have to find you have to find your education yourself. So I guess it's half and half. It depends on the person, I suppose.
Have you ever witnessed anybody with natural hair get turned away because there was no?
Yes.
Really? Can
Yes.
you tell us about that?
Like, How do
you feel?
I feel good.
Good? Okay.
So I would always get the difficult hair, the natural hair.
Right.
So if I wasn't around, then no one would be able to do it, or they would do it and they would not do a great job.
How has that been to your career? Like actually being the only one who can handle natural hair? Has that been good for your career, or?
Well, yeah, yes, because, obviously I build a clientele, and I'm, it's a specific kind of service. So I have the upper hand in the situation. So I have more clients fed to me because I could do natural hair and thick hair. So of course I was like, all right, great. But it's also very disappointing to know that no one takes their time to learn more. Yeah. So, or just like not, yeah, it's disappointing in fellow hairstylist, I have to say. It kind of seems a little ignorant, if you ask me. Because what do you're only going to do one certain kind of thing, but maybe not. I don't know. Like, it really depends on the person, I suppose, too.
So do you think that hairstylists should just learn how to do natural hair?
Absolutely. I think it should be part of the curriculum in the beginning of your career. There should, again, going back to the interview, I think that you should definitely have at least, a few weeks on natural hair.
Right.
I absolutely think it's vital to your career.
Right.
Because if you want to go into fashion, if you want to go into any industry, there is going to be natural haired women.
Right.
So the fact you're just basically shorting yourself by not taking the time to learn about more hair texture.
Right. As a model, if there's a photo shoot and they need 10 models, maybe 1 or 2 will be black.
Yeah.
So the demand is just really not there. So a lot of hairstylists are like, F that. Like, I don't need to waste my time.
And I believe that's part of the problem as well. It's a problem.
You have the hair bloom in your hair for now.
Okay. So we put the mask.
Processing, yes.
The processing cap.
We're gonna leave it in for 30 minutes so that it penetrates your hair very well. You don't have to sit under heat. The cap will do the work for you. How does it feel?
How does it feel? I feel like she's getting the treatment that her hair needs. We saturated her hair really well, and I'm excited to see what happens in the next step.
Yeah,
How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel like, you guys were taking care of me.
Oh, awesome. Great.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to leave it in for a few minutes and then wash it out and catch us back at the wash bowl.
All right, awesome. I'm excited.
Co-wash first.
Co-wash.
Have you heard
So
of co-wash?
I've heard it before, and I've heard the term before, but I have no idea what that means.
Okay, co-wash is basically like a conditioner that is shampoo.
Okay.
It's a gentle cleanser. Co-wash is usually sulfate silicone free, and those are two chemicals that are found in shampoos and conditioners that are really bad for natural hair. It feels great. It gives you a nice slip. Everything is easy to detangle, but really it stops your hair from growing. So for her hair, I gave her the promise that we're using a sulfate silicone free co-wash and then a conditioner. So before you use co-wash on a natural hair client's hair, you would just ask them, hey, when's the last time you shampooed?
Do you say clarifying or just shampoo? Clarifying.
Yeah, either
okay.
or.
Yeah.
Either or. And if they say, well, I haven't shampooed in like a month, then you need to shampoo them.
Okay.
But
So what's the deadline?
I would say a week or two. So if you're
Okay.
like, I haven't shampooed in 2 weeks and you feel their hair out
Okay.
and it's like dry,
Sure.
and you don't use shampoo, you use co-wash.
Okay.
Co-wash gives you more moisture. So for her, I would say it's safe to co-wash.
Okay, great.
So we just take everything down.
Take everything down? Okay.
Mhm. And I like to detangle after I co-wash or shampoo.
Okay.
And then when the conditioner is in the hair and I've left it in for like 3 minutes, that's when I like to detangle, and I like to go in with the wide tooth comb.
Okay.
Sometimes I do a pick. We can try both and see which one you feel more comfortable with.
Okay.
But never a rat tail comb. See, my plan was to detangle the model's hair using a wide tooth comb. However, because she pointed out the fact that she prefers finger detangling, I chose to honor her method and respect her crown. However, that method will require a bit more detangling during the styling process.
A nice, calming, meditative process for me, just to
Finger detangle. So you don't really use the...
Yeah, I haven't used a comb.
In how long?
In a long time.
Okay,
I
so...
usually will use a comb if it requires it for the style. Like if the style is like a curling set or a rod set, then I'll use a comb.
Okay. I've been to the top, it's a merry-go-round. Been to the top, it's a merry-go. Been to the top, it's a merry-go. Completely saturated with water because this co-wash is gonna lather a little bit.
Okay. Is that water okay?
There are certain co-washes that have zero lather.
Okay.
I like my co-wash to have an itty bitty bit of lather, just because I feel like it's a cleaner feeling. But again, it's not taking out all of the natural oils from your hair. I make it rain, use the money, wipe my pain away. I've been to the top, it's a merry-go-round. Been to the top, it's a merry-go. Been to the top, it's a merry-go. Round and round and round and round. Black people are the next generation. No, we taking over, all we gotta have is patience. Black crime, gotta stop the segregating. Face it, you a black queen, I'ma need you to embrace black skin, black hair, black nails. I'm that when I pull up, turn my haters pale. Backstage, black fame, black rage. I make it rain, use my money, wipe my pain away. I've been to the top, it's a merry-go-round. Been to the top, it's a merry-go. Been to the top, it's a merry-go. Round and round and round and round.
All right. Flip up. Perfect. Gorgeous.
So we're just gonna put a little bit of the hair bloom oil on her midshaft and the ends, just to give it a little bit of moisture for styling. And this is gonna act as a protectant. She's gonna have a protective style in her hair. So whenever you do a protective style, you wanna make sure the natural hair that's underneath is nice, moisturized, healthy, because it's gonna be in that protective style for a while.
Okay.
So even if she were to get braids after this, you always wanna make sure whatever the base that you're working with, her real hair, is healthy
Okay.
underneath that protective style. So good.
So good.
It's so moisturized.
Gorgeous.
This is Crystal's first time trying her hands at a natural hair wash and go. I must say, she did an awesome job and learned so many new skills, which will further her career and prevent her from offending our natural hair queens. Natural hair discrimination is still a problem in the fashion industry today. To help combat this issue, we are demanding fashion brands end natural hair discrimination once and for all by solely hiring hairstylists who have natural hair training. The time for change is now. Support by signing our petition to make fashion texture positive.
So from the beginning of today, I absolutely didn't know anything, I feel like, compared to what I know now. I am ready to take on a new part of my career. I've learned, I feel like there's so much more to learn, but I've learned the basics and I'm ready to use this knowledge on my clients. I learned how to twist on the scalp. I've learned to detangle. I've learned co-wash. I've learned how to shampoo and what clarifying does. I've learned the difference between a lock and a dreadlock and where the dreadlock term came from. I've learned a lot of terminology, what's offensive. I've just been educated in every aspect of natural hair today. This natural hair workshop would help in every direction, so every question will be answered and explained. And I think it is an opportunity that it's an opportunity that I would absolutely wouldn't pass up. It is something that you could take with you for the rest of your career, and you could educate yourself, educate other people, educate your clients, which is obviously the goal, right? Is to educate your clients to understand why they love their hair, or teach them how to love their hair. Moving forward, the Natural Hair Workshop is definitely going to help me in a lot of directions. Just understanding natural hair in a whole today was amazing, and now I know I'm going to be able to move forward, and I'm really excited to learn to use everything that I learned today. I'm going to do it on my own hair because that's the best way I learn, and I can't wait to introduce my new techniques that I've learned today on my existing clients, and I'm going to be offering definitely a new service on my menu, and I'm really, really excited to try a non-heat service that also gives you texture. Basically, instead of just using, a blow dryer, curling iron, all that stuff, maybe a little heat depending on how much hair you have moving forward.
No matter how tight or loose your curl is, be texture positive.
I am #texture positive because I would love my hair texture no matter what texture it was. And the one that I have is cool. I've learned to love it. So yeah, you should be #texture positive too.
I'd love to see more texture positivity in my life.
Texture positive just doesn't mean isn't just inclusive of Black girls who may have looser curl textures. It should also be inclusive of the ones with really, really coarse hair, and they should be cared for accordingly and not having to worry about what to do after, prior to the shoot.